all lies will be exposed.
All right, everyone. Cheers and salutations. This is going to be a very serious episode and a precursor of what's going to happen on Thursday. We're going to be breaking down at least what we know about the shooting that took place in Minnesota. Again, it's extremely tragic. I will not be playing the video in which the shooting did take place, as it will probably be hit, but I will be joining Keaton from Due Dissidence tomorrow, where there'll be an uncensored coverage of it on Due Dissidence tomorrow. The live stream will be at 11 a.m. Central on Due Dissidence Network, and most likely we'll be talking about this full story in the aftermath later on tomorrow. So we'll most likely be moved over to Rumble, because we will be seeing firsthand the different accounts and videos that are showing the woman who has been identified. So for everyone right now, I'll be playing some videos as well as some commentary and at least some of the updated information about what we do know so far. So first, let's address what took place. Sometime after wrapping up Hardlands Media this morning, the incident taking place in Minnesota had to deal with ICE and Department of Homeland Security acknowledging that an ICE agent shot a U.S. citizen. All right. Now, here's what we do know, at least what's been identified and what is currently available for all of us to see firsthand. So let me just get this available for everybody right now. And this is extremely tragic, for I fear that 2026 is already going to be a roller coaster year. This is day 7 of 2026. We barely even scratched the surface, yet here we are. The Department of Homeland Security confirmed today that a woman was shot and killed by Immigration and Customs Enforcement agent during a confrontation between federal agents and protesters in southern Minneapolis. The woman's mother identified her as Renee Nicole Good, age 37. My God, so young. In a fiery news conference at City Hall, Mayor Jacob Frey, a Democrat, called ICE to get the F out. DHS spokeswoman Trissa McLaughlin said ICE officers were conducting targeted operations when community members began trying to block ICE vehicles. She said the ICE agent fired defensive shots as the woman attempted to run over agents. After seeing the video in question and from the various angles, this was definitely excessive use of force. I have said on the show before, and a few other people show before, that obviously when dealing with ICE and how they've done site security is a complete disaster. And in regards to how they have handled operations, especially here in Chicago, I think we all know firsthand just how much of a disaster this is. And in turn, the outrage that we are seeing boil over and what's going to most likely happen tomorrow and the day after that is people challenging ICE. There's no way to make this sound that one side is better than the other. A life was taken away. Several residents of the area who witnessed the scene said agents were ordering the woman out of the vehicle. A video posted on social media showed agents around the vehicle as the driver reversed and then accelerated. One agent appeared to fire, excuse me about that, multiple rounds into the car. Governor Tim Walz and Frey put out calls for calm to the family. "I'm so deeply sorry," Frey said. He also disputed Homeland Security's version of what happened. The mother, sadly, this has just been pinned here, IDs the shooting victim. The victim was identified by her mother, Renee Nicole Good, 37. Donna Ganger, who told the Minnesota Star Tribune that her daughter lived in the Twin Cities, was her partner. Ganger declined to say whether she lived in Minneapolis. Ganger said the family was notified of the death late Wednesday morning. "That's so stupid that she was killed," Ganger said. Learning some of the circumstances from the reporter, she was probably terrified. Ganger said her daughter's not part of anything like that at all, referring to protesters challenging ICE agents. Renee was one of the kindest people I've ever known. She said she was extremely compassionate. She's taken care of people all of her life. She was loving, forgiving, and affectionate. She was an amazing human being. Now, I do have this video here. This was from a witness. I got a couple of videos here from the witness, and more will most likely be pouring out very soon. Again, there will be a full detailed conversation. I'll be co-hosting Due Dissidence tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central. Let's check this out.
Breaking down what exactly you saw this morning.
Basically, ladies trying to warn everyone ICE is in the neighborhood. Just letting them know, hey, and telling ICE, hey, you're destroying families, whatnot. Stop doing this. Hey, get out of here. Stop that. She reversed so traffic can go by. The pickup truck, gray pickup truck, officer ICE got out and was telling her, hey, well, didn't tell her anything, really, just telling her what, I'm going to open up your door and I'm going to get you out. And that's when the shooting happened, and the car took off, and then it sped off and crashed right into the cars.
Can you talk about the agent that was stepped in front of the car?
The way he was in the clear. There was another one at the front part of the car on the driver's side. Then there's one right there by the door that's opening, trying to get in the door. Then you have one that's in front of the car that was already coming from the side. And he was just getting clear because he already see that, hey, this person could take off, but, maybe I'll try to, intimidate you with my gun.
Let's see, here's the thing. I just want to say this. When it comes down to firearms intimidation, people react differently. Some people are stone cold. Some people get scared very easily. This is a situation which could have been avoided. And there's no way to bring back calm upon the streets in Minneapolis, Minnesota, anywhere now. We already know there's some problems in Minnesota. Most likely, again, when we were covering the fraud story, I did comment that sooner or later ICE could be going into Minnesota in regards towards, this situation. And now things look like they're going to intensify, and there's more videos of this intensification and pushback. I commented on the Jimmy Dore show when ICE was here in Chicago. ICE is still in Chicago, but when they were conducting operations, in one incident where they lost control of an entire situation and the whole community was able to disrupt and remove ICE from detaining a person. Now, that person was able to escape. We also commented on a video in which one guy on a bicycle in downtown Chicago was just saying F ICE, to which then, again, this person was unarmed, no weapon at all on his possession, was then chased by ICE officers. And while we were all able to laugh at that, I did give a warning, if not in Chicago, then somewhere, this situation will escalate and there will be violence. I don't like it when I'm right, because usually when I predict some stuff like this, it gets out of hand. Now, this is a woman who's lost her life, and this was carelessness. Now, again, I am all for everyone's right to protest their First Amendment. Go for it. This goes for people on the left and the right. But this is my warning now, okay? When it comes down to this, these ICE operations, it's very clear that you're dealing with people who are very reactionary. If you're going to be protesting, you've got to be careful. And things can intensify now, and there's no point of calm returning. I want to point out another video here, and I found this commentary. This is from another perspective of a person that was there on the ground. Let me play this video here.
Around 8:30 this morning, I was just getting up and I heard a bunch of commotion and whistling outside. And then I heard bang, 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 3 shots. I went to go look out the window and it looked like there's a Honda over there that crashed. And I found out it was an observer that got shot and killed. And I saw them carry it. I got a bunch of video of them carrying the body to the ambulance and stuff. So there's an observer that got shot at an ICE raid of the house next door. So,
I'm sure that was a scary thing to witness.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty right-leaning, but seeing this is not what you need to do. It's not how to do it. It's not how we're supposed to do things around here in America. So,
how many agents and other people were here when that happened?
When it first started, there was maybe 20, but now there's hundreds, and then they got everybody out. So it's kind of crazy right now.
What's it been like seeing all of this?
Kind of scary. I lived during the riots in 2020, so it's kind of paralleling that right now. It's kind of same feeling. Hoping it doesn't, but it's getting a little rowdy.
And it will. This is right now allegedly, at least allegedly, what it's looking like. The person who engaged and fired their rounds into the vehicle, at least allegedly.
Shame! 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 Shame!
I also want to point this out here as well. There has been further intensification and showdown between, again, after the shooting took place. Again, I will not be showing that video between ICE and protesters. Any point of peace right now being Minnesota, despite the cold weather, no, that has boiled over. Things have been turned up to 11.
Get back! Right in the face! Get back! Fuck off! All on video! You fucking... Kill someone else! Kill someone else! Get killed for this thing. It's not worth it,
Go another way!
Move!
Go another way!
Move!
Go another way! Behind us!
I'm all for your First Amendment right, but let me just give this warning here. They will push back, and we saw what happened in all these ICE detention centers. I'm all for your right for First Amendment right in protesting, but at this point in time, you know, you are putting yourself in danger, all right? And it's very clear that in regards to doing site security or de-escalation, none of these ICE agents have that training. This has blown up into a point at which there will be conflict. There will be conflict. It's going to get worse. We are going to see some protests, mark my words, that will probably be far more intense than what we saw with the George Floyd protests. And already right now, we are seeing politicians do the traditional way of bringing in calm, but they are failing at their messaging. That goes for Democrats and Republicans, from Tim Walz to even Donald Trump. I'll be getting their commentary in very soon.
Move! Get out of the way! Get out! Press! Get out the way! Get out the way of the truck! Move! Move! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Nazis! Nazis!
Now, look, I want to pause here. I am all for chat having discussion and dialogue. I'm all for discourse. I will ask for people to be polite, but you know what? This is going to be high in emotions. So I will make my thoughts on this very clear. This is a complete failure by ICE, and the actions and responses by the politicians is also going to be an epic failure. There's no way you can restore any kind of semblance of peace after this. Especially with the aftermath of what we dealt with last year in 2025, what we saw here in Chicago, and in turn, what's been playing out at least the early days of 2026. We will see more protests. And in regards for the sanctuary cities, there's going to be further lockdowns, and I do see a further intensification and more protests happening nationwide.
What are you doing? You're breaking families, man! You're breaking families, motherfucker! Get out of their way! Get out of their way! Hey, let the vehicle leave! You guys are breaking families, man! You can't be doing that shit! Fuck off! Get back!
right, so let's address overall now our leaders, our dear leaders, our politicians, both Democrats and Republicans. First of all, we have to look at the fact that right now we have the mayor of ICE, Mayor to ICE, get the F out of Minneapolis. So Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey had a message for U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement after a federal agent fatally shot a woman in his city on Wednesday. To ICE, get the F out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here, the Democrat mayor said during a press conference. Your stated reason for being in the city is to create some kind of safety, and you're doing exactly the opposite. People are being hurt. Families are being ripped apart. Long-term Minneapolis residents have contributed so greatly to our city, to our culture, to our economy, are now being terrorized, and somebody is dead. That's on you, and it's also on you to leave. So let's go ahead and play this commentary. I want to play it right now for all of you. Here we go.
There's little I can say, again, that'll make this situation better, but I do have a message for our community, for our city, and I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite. People are being hurt. Families are being ripped apart. Long-term Minneapolis residents that have contributed so greatly to our city, to our culture, to our economy are being terrorized, and now somebody is dead. That's on you. And it's also on you to leave. It's on you to make sure that further damage, further loss of life and injury is not done. We're going to be working towards justice as quickly as we possibly can right now. And justice is what we've all got to get.
All right, let me be clear on this one. I want to give a shout out to one of our viewers, OG Molten 1. This is certainly not helping de-escalate. No. De-escalation is the furthest thing that's going to happen here. No. Nope. No. There will be no de-escalation. This is a point of no return. This is a Rubicon that's been crossed. There will be no de-escalation. And while there are some people trying to bring in calm, with the various videos that have been posted on social media, as well as the early commentary from this, as well as the previous actions of ICE here in Chicago, for example, people are not going to tolerate this. Now, I've been speaking with a couple people in independent media already universally across the board, even those across the political spectrum. This was taken out of this was bad. There's no way to sugarcoat this. There's no way to look at this. And as someone, and I'm going to be talking more about this on Due Dissidence tomorrow. Look, when you do site security, when you're trying to, de-escalate a situation, or let's say remove a vehicle from the situation as well, and you have control, because again, intimidation through numbers, the firearm was not necessary. There were many other things. And also, again, putting your own self in harm's way, when the training is like, don't put yourself in harm's way, just make sure that you are able to defend yourself. But even then, again, you're on U.S. soil. You're not in some third world country. And ICE, you're dealing with U.S. citizens. We got very lucky that this thing didn't happen earlier in Chicago. Because my goodness, the amount of videos that are there available on social media on how ICE was going from the north side to the south side of Chicago. And again, I commented this on the Jimmy Dore show, one situation, again, in a neighborhood that's on the south side, ICE lost complete control of the situation, and they had to let that person go. Because the whole community was wondering, why are you arresting this guy? Why are you arresting this guy? Why are you arresting this guy? Now, the person who was shot is a U.S. citizen, not an illegal immigrant of any form or type. De-escalation. OG Molten 1. Sorry, buddy. That's so off the table that even a cat can't even knock it off. There you go. I want to point this out here, too. I want to pull this up here. Let's pull this up.
I have to stress that emotionally, that might have been me, that woman there. That's how moved I am and how angry I am, but by what I'm seeing. I'm seeing what Governor Walz, for all his problems, was absolutely right yesterday when he said bringing the ICE agents into this Minneapolis community was going to cause trouble, was going to cause violence, maybe deadly violence. He said it was predictable and avoidable. And yet it happened anyway. It happened almost as if They were following the script of how to screw things up and make things worse when you're supposed to be, in pursuit of some national goal, the ridding the country of undocumented immigrants. How does shooting the woman behind an SUV, the wheel of an SUV, a white woman, a 37-year-old white woman, I mean, how in the hell does that further our national goal? It just seems, I mean, blood in the snow is the way I'm going to think about this forever. That woman's death was absolutely unnecessary. It was absolutely avoidable. It was the most unprofessional thing I've watched. That's why people are worried about ICE. That's one of the reasons people don't trust ICE. They've taken their training, from several months down to weeks. They're often people who've been let go from other law enforcement jobs. They're not well regarded, I have to say this, by other cops. They wear masks.
So I just wanted to stop here and just say this. I've done my fair share of training when I was in the Marine Corps, and you just don't do this this is weeks upon weeks of training. Okay. And what I've seen firsthand, at least from my experience, seeing ICE here in Chicago from the videos that I've commented on, I've been on a couple people's shows, from Jimmy Dore's show to Matt Weinglass's show as well. It's stuff that I covered on Hard Lens Media. And let me just say this here, folks. ICE's actions, I was saying, if things continue to intensify, somebody's going to get hurt. Initially, I thought it'd be in Chicago where it would happen, but no, it happened in Minnesota. State of Minnesota right now. And unfortunately with this, the de-escalation or any kind of commentary from politicians, you have the Democrats and then you have the Republicans. I want to pull up everybody's favorite person. You know her, you love her, Chrissy Nome. Because what could go wrong? Take it away. Take it away, Christy. Watch how things don't get calm after this.
Questions there. You asked about a shooting that we just had in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It was an act of domestic terrorism. What happened was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him. And my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased. We're continuing to gather more information, but this goes to show the assaults that our ICE officers and our law enforcement are under every single day. These vehicle rammings are domestic acts of terrorism. We're working with the Department of Justice to prosecute them as such. We will continue to protect our ICE officers and in cooperation with other law enforcement agencies as well. You've seen me in the last couple of days deploy over 2,000 more officers to the Minneapolis area. And in the last 2 days, we've...
Now I want to pause here, all right, because I was going to save this at the end, but yes, DS7 Cooper. Anything to push that story aside about Epstein. I know. If it's not Venezuela, it's going to be something else. Always going to be something else. Don't forget it. That's important. We cannot ignore that story, the Epstein story. But yes, I've seen a couple of you already comment. I was going to save that at the end, but you know what? We're halfway through, so we might as well go ahead and keep on pushing forward, shall we? We must. More on this from Governor Tim Walz, who, at least in my opinion, definitely poured a little bit of gasoline on the fire. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz issued a warning order to prepare the Minnesota National Guard following the ICE shooting in Minneapolis. To Minnesotans, know that our administration is going to stop at nothing to seek accountability and justice. To Donald Trump, Chrissy Nome, you've done enough. There's nothing more important than Minnesotan safety. I've issued a warning order to prepare the Minnesota National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary. I know he's resigning or going to be leaving anytime soon, and he's already got some scandals surrounding him in regards to the fraud that's happening. But all right, National Guard, Minnesota, being deployed potentially. Let's not panic yet. Something tells me that we're going to be into winter of love. What could go wrong?
This morning, we learned that an ICE officer shot and killed someone in Minneapolis. My deepest condolences to the family, to the loved ones who had to learn about this tragic event on national television. We have been warning for weeks that the Trump administration's dangerous, sensationalized operations are a threat to our public safety, that someone was going to get hurt. Just yesterday, I said exactly that. What we're seeing is the consequences of governance designed to generate fear, headlines, and conflict. It's governing by reality TV. And today that recklessness cost someone their life. I've reached out to Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, and I'm waiting to hear back. Let me be clear. Donald Trump and his administration may not care much about Minnesota. That's been pretty evident. But we love this state. We won't let them tear us apart. We'll not turn against each other. To Minnesotans, I say this. I feel your anger. I'm angry. They want a show. We can't give it to them. We cannot. If you protest and express your First Amendment rights, please do so peacefully, as you always do. We can't give them what they want. The hearts and minds of the people in this state are on our side. To Americans, I ask you this. Please stand with Minneapolis. To Minnesotans, know that our administration is going to stop at nothing to seek accountability and justice. The State Bureau of Criminal Apprehension are working on the investigation. We have activated the State Emergency Operations Center. State Patrol and Minnesota National Guard leadership is connected with the Minneapolis Police Department, the St. Paul Police Department, Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, the DNR, and Minnesota's Homeland Security and Emergency Management. We have activated dozens of members of the State Patrol's mobile response team. And from here on, I have a very simple message. We do not need any further help from the federal government. To Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, you've done enough. There's nothing more important than Minnesotan safety. I've issued a warning order to prepare the Minnesota National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary. I remind you, a warning order is a heads up for folks. And these National Guard troops are our National Guard troops. They're teachers in your community, they're business owners, they're construction professionals. They are Minnesotans. Minnesota will not allow our community to be used as a prop in a national political fight. We will not take the bait. We will continue to update you, Minnesota, as we get more information. Now I'd like to turn it over to Commissioner Bob Jacobson of the Minnesota Department of Public Safety.
As it stands right now, it's also been brought to my attention in downtown Minneapolis, rioters break through the doors of the federal courthouse chanting for ICE to get out. I want to play this video as well. This has also been happening right now.
Out now! ICE 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 out now!
This is only the beginning. We've seen this before.
ICE out now!
In response to this, Donald Trump has written this. This was from his Truth Social post. I've just reviewed the clip of the event which took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's a horrible thing to watch. The woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator, and the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer, who seems to have shot her in self-defense. Again, this has all of this is heavily escalated. None of it should have happened. Based on the attached clip, it is hard to believe he is alive, but he is now recovering in the hospital. The situation is being studied in its entirety, but the reason these incidents are happening is because the radical left is threatening, assaulting, and targeting our law enforcement officers and ICE agents on a daily basis. They are just trying to do the job of making America safe. We need to stand by and protect our law enforcement officers from this radical left movement of violence and hate. President Donald J. Trump. Now, watching the videos in turn, and especially seeing the actions of ICE here in Chicago, let me just say this: there's no de-escalation. That's why there's federal court cases right now. Now, again, in regards, because I've recently got a message from a good friend who asked me, well, Kit, how long is the legal process going to take for this, especially what happened here in Chicago? We do realize that it's going to take a couple of years for what happened here in Chicago and what's going to be ongoing. The legal process moves horrifically slow. They don't move fast like you see in the TV shows and movies. All right? You're not going to get any of that. They move fast. It's not done in one day or 1 week. This happens very, very slow. And in regards to this and everything that's going to be following afterwards, folks, let me just tell you, the actions of ICE right now and how they do site security needs to be called into question. The actions of how they, right now, again, somebody who lost their life, a U.S. citizen, again, this is a U.S. citizen that lost their life, needs to be looked into. The overall training of what ICE does needs to be looked into. And already with the potential possibility of protests happening in mass, it's a great distraction. Perfect distraction. Why not intensify things in which people will forget other main stories, like how right now oil tankers were just taken over, or the Epstein story, or anything else of that nature? Because what could go wrong? The answer is a lot. But hey, don't worry, I got somebody who will bring in some calmness. Give it up for Fetterman.
Over the past year, do you think that they were at fault here?
I mean, it's devastating. I mean, it's an absolute tragedy. My heart goes out to her family. I mean, I don't know the circumstances. I haven't seen the actual video, but what a life is lost. I mean, it's a tragedy, and absolutely. And you know, my views. I support ICE about deporting criminals. I don't support and understand if you want to target otherwise hardworking people. I don't support that. I never have on that. I remain pro strongly immigration, and that's never going to change. So here we are now, where a woman's dead, and that's tragedy. And you know, we'll know the circumstances. I'm not going to make any judgment other than just express my sympathy for the family. I mean, just what a tragedy.
The mayor of Minneapolis says that ICE should get the F out of their city. Do you think they should get out?
Oh, I mean, I'm not that close to the kind of violence and the tragedy, so I don't want to judge that. But for me, I think it's all probably always more helpful to turn the temperature down and just withhold, the kinds of extremes to say, hey, like, let's everybody, turn the temperature down, honestly, whether that's coming from like some kinds of the rhetoric from Secretary Noem or the president, or whether the mayor or governor. It's like, really, let's just turn down the temperature, and we can't forget someone's lost their life, and now we have to investigate the circumstances.
Jenny, no one knows, okay? The guy is stuttering and stammering all over the place. You're not going to have any calmness. There will be no calmness.
Gomez, any reaction to the shooting death of the lady in Minnesota by the ICE agent today?
Yeah, it was murder. It was obvious that she was just driving away. She wasn't driving into the ICE agent. I think that the Attorney General in Minnesota has to take a hard look and probably file charges against them. I think it was disgusting. I pointed out earlier that this was eventually going to happen because you have these agents from all over the country probably without a lot of training, getting sent into these communities and ratcheting up their enforcement in a way that's pretty reckless. So was that going to endanger the lives of U.S. citizens as well as people who are not documented but are not a threat? And this was exactly the fear that I always had when it came to these ICE agents, and why I'm also scared about the expansion of ICE and CBP using that $175 billion slush fund. I think it's gonna be more attacks. It's gonna be more, I would say, untrained individuals that shouldn't be on our streets, and this is across the country. So I think the Attorney General has to take Minnesota has to take a hard look at it, and then Congress has to figure out if these people have immunity, that we can strip them of that immunity if they violate the law.
Okay, thank you, Congressman.
Thank you.
I also want to just acknowledge this again for those of you who are wondering. The woman fatally gunned down by ICE agents in Minneapolis has been identified again as 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good, who described herself as a mother, wife, and a poet. Good was identified by her mother hours after she was killed, after the feds say she tried to ram ICE agents on the street in the city. The Star Tribune reported Renee was one of the kindest people I've known, her mother, Donna Ganger, told the newspaper. And this is just who the person was. Again, this is a still shot of just before the incident took place. She was extremely compassionate. She's taken care of people all her life. She was loving, forgiving, and affectionate. She was an amazing human being. She was probably terrified, saying the circumstances of death were so stupid. Good was a writer and a poet and was previously married to a comedian who died in 2023, also at the age of 37. Wife and mom, and a shady guitar drummer from Colorado experiencing Minneapolis, read her Instagram bio, which was accompanied by a pride flag and she, her pronouns, of course. Well, we got to identify her, right? She was killed in a middle-class neighborhood in South Minneapolis, where ICE agents were carrying out an immigration operation Wednesday. Good was among several people who allegedly blocked the street with their vehicles to prevent the agents from moving, according to the Department of Homeland Security. Now, listen, I want to make it very clear. I'm all for someone's First Amendment right to protest. I'm all for someone to organize. But after everything that I've seen firsthand in the early days of ICE coming here in Chicago, if you're going to be protesting ICE, do so, and please be careful. Okay. And I say this because the way they've handled site security, the way they have handled protests have been absolutely abysmal. All right. There's no way in regards to keeping calm of the situation, and calm and de-escalation are off the table. I do not see anything decreasing, but intensifying. Now, I'm going to talk more about this with Keaton tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central on Due Dissidence program. So everyone, please tune in on that, because most likely the entire full coverage is going to go on Rumble. I'm doing this live stream in regards to getting the notes down correctly and having you, our audience, at least know who this person was and the response of people and various witnesses from those who each have their own perspective. And in this day and age where there's all sorts of points of view on social media, it's important to hear all analysis and points of view. I want to pull up this video here because, again, all perspectives.
I woke up to some commotion. I heard some whistles going on out front, so I came downstairs to see what was going on. Wasn't even dressed. And there was a car, the Honda Pilot that's crashed over there now. There was a car blocking the 2 lanes of Portland traffic. And the ICE agents got out and they were saying, "Get out of here, get out of here." And she was what looked like trying to turn around. And the ICE agent was in front of her car, and he pulled out a gun and put it right in, like, his midriff was on her bumper, and he reached across the hood of the car and shot her in the face. It's like 3-4 times. And then she must have just stepped on the gas. She stepped on the gas immediately, maybe got like 100 feet or so, and ran into the telephone pole and some cars, and then was slumped over in her car. And you could see she was probably gone. And there was a medic, there was a neighbor who's a physician who was yelling, "Can I please check the pulse?" There was no first responders. There were 0 first responders. They left her in her car, slumped over for about 10-15 minutes, blocking us all. And eventually EMS got here, and they wouldn't let the bus in, so it was just the EMS workers, and they checked her out for a second, maybe five minutes or so, and then carried her out, no stretcher or anything, carried her out like a sack of fucking potatoes.
Can you describe a little bit about what this woman looked like? Was there anyone else in the car with her? Did you know if she was the target?
I don't know if she was a target. They clearly wanted her out of there because she was the main car leading the protest, is my understanding. I talked to another guy who was driving behind her, but she was very successful in blocking traffic. She was doing what she was set out to do, and so they wanted to get her the hell out of there. Yeah.
So it looked like she was impeding ICE vehicles.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
That was her goal.
Do you have a read on her demographic?
I think she was a white woman. Looked like I didn't see her when she was.
At least as it stands, yes, from the photos and everything that in which the Minnesota Post, and right now it's being made on social media. At least as it stands, the victim is a Caucasian woman.
Alive, just slumped over in the car. It looked like she had dyed short curly hair. I have a video of her in the car. But yeah, no other.
Also want to acknowledge this here too, because now as we are in a midterm election cycle, color me shocked. Yes, this will probably be used as a political talking point and political tool and chess piece between both Democrats and Republicans. So you know what that means. The scumbag politicians, Team Red and Team Blue, will be sending you emails asking you for donations. Isn't that lovely? Give it up for AOC. AOC, what do you got to say?
Congresswoman, can I real quick get your reaction to the shooting death in Minnesota of the woman by the ICE agent?
No, this is what it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. This is what we've been warning about for a very long time, and it is. I'm just. It's tragic to say, but from the moment that, from the moment that this Congress decided to authorize and explode ICE's budget, they are accountable to no one. It's important that people know that ICE has less accountability than virtually any law enforcement agency in the United States. And yet they are some of the most well-funded. They're operating with impunity. And we just saw the murder of an American citizen in cold blood in the street. And despite whatever lies that the president wants to say about what was happening in this, you can see what happened for yourselves. They shot a woman in the head in cold blood on the street. I hope that this incident is prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, and this is an agency that must be reined in.
Thank you, Congresswoman.
I just want to let's point this out here too. Fullest extent of the law. Let me let everyone. Wheels of justice move slow. If anything, maybe best case scenario, this case could be potentially wrapped up within a year or year time frame. But here in Chicago, with all the people who've been detained, with all the legal paperwork that's right now being processed, that stuff's going to go on for 4 years, maybe 5 years, 6 years, God knows how long. Okay, that's how wrapped up these prosecutions will be. Justice moves horrifically slow. It doesn't care about feelings. It's going to be caring about the facts and laws and interpretation of the laws and how judges view that interpretation of the law. If you think there's going to be justice, no. There will be none of that. There will be none of that. And of course, now this incident will be used as a political tool piece for both the left and the right, Democrats and Republicans, to use in regards to controlling the House and the Senate. All the while, important issues like Venezuela, the Epstein story, pushed aside, and again, if you need a perfect distraction, hey, have the people riot and hate each other. But see, I said something like this would take place last year. And there's no stopping it because you have this intensification. And now now that somebody is dead because of this, because we have been dodging that bullet. Chicago, hey, we really dodged the bullet, but because ICE is going to be probably coming back here to this city, don't wait up. Something bad could probably happen here too. God forbid it does. And I hope that it doesn't, because this city already has enough problems as it is. But already with this incident took place in Minnesota, there's no wrapping it up. There's no de-escalation. I also want to pull up something else here as well. Again, all perspectives, because you got those on the right. Just want to point this out here. The genie is not going to be put back into the bottle.
I just saw the disturbing video. Obviously, it's a serious situation. There's going to be a full investigation, as we all know and expect. Look, it appears to us, it appears to, I guess, anybody who sees the video from certain angles, that the driver of the vehicle weaponized that vehicle against law enforcement officers and against bystanders. It was a dangerous situation. People make snap judgments in those situations, and it's a really sad outcome. Look, I do think that it's right. I think, I guess maybe it was Homeland or someone put out a statement that this clearly appears to be the result of this just months-long rhetoric against law enforcement and people encouraging that kind of violence. And so we call upon all the citizens of Minneapolis to be calm. We don't want anyone to be hurt. We need law enforcement to be able to do their jobs, and it's a terrible situation. But we await.
So you don't think there's any chance that officers can
I just.
And there will be no peace. None. So the takeaway is this: already each side is taking their perspective and point of view. A woman lost her life. Now I've made it very clear how I view ICE. I think in regards to how they handled their operations here in Chicago was extremely sloppy. We're very lucky that people did not lose their lives. People did get detained, and people, yes, did get hurt. But we saw a massive overreach and a precursor of things to come. And unfortunately, they came true on the 7th day of January 2026, 7 days in. 7 days into the new year, and this is where we're at. 7 days in, and we start this country in the middle of a crisis. Also at the beginning stages of a midterm, in which this crisis, the blood that's on the ground, will be used as political fuel to engage and bring in Democrat voters and Republican voters, causing people to hate one another. Now, I understand that there's been a lot of policies, failed policies. The sanctuary cities was a failed policy, is a failed policy. Using people, migrants, as political chess pieces in a board game is inhumane and madness. This was going on under Joe Biden. This was going under a lot of presidential administrations, Democrat and Republican. And we are at the point of bad decisions, reaching here to the point of where, once again, blood will be in the streets. The actions that took place this morning cannot be undone. Clearly, you had, yes, protesters. Well, protesters blocking traffic. That's nothing new. But when you escalate a situation to where there is violence and then somebody gets shot, if you are a member of law enforcement, the whole idea is really do de-escalation. I mean, in theory, that's what it's supposed to be about, de-escalation. But that's off the table. When you have a Democrat governor, again, who's on his last days, instigating or stating that the National Guard will be deployed, and you have Trump doing it his own perspective. What can go wrong? There's a chance in which orders and information will be not properly shared, and this could also lead to more people getting hurt. But right now, as we enter into the evening hours of January 7th, tomorrow is a day of uncertainty. Tomorrow will be a day in which we will be facing potential, and I do say this, potentially more people getting hurt. There's no way to look at this and say that things will be calm. Not after a life was taken. I'm reminded of 2020, and I see things happening in a very, very, very bad light. And I am more than happy to talk this over with my colleague Keaton from Due Dissidence tomorrow. But a woman's life is gone. And in it, a whole community saw it happen. In it, all social media saw a person lose their life. And we have to remember that there are going to be people who are hurt. The actions of ICE and immigration has ripped families apart. One of my viewers right now, his sister-in-law is fighting for her life just so that she cannot be deported. That's Cowboy Kitty, and I want to give a shout out to him. There are real human beings dealing with the policies of this administration and failed promises from the Democrats. There's no undoing this. There's no way in saying one side prevailed over the other. Not when a life is lost, and not when potentially more lives can be lost. We have to remember these politicians. We have to remember these politicians like to play this game. And at least as it stands right now, as more of the story gets developed, things are going to be intensified. I want to pull up something else here too. And this is just a sign, maybe of how things will play out. Pull up this video here.
Okay, it looks like they are throwing snowballs as the officers are leaving. So again, I believe it was a state patrol, and we did see some MPD officers who were leaving that scene. Hennepin County telling us that their sheriff's deputies have not been on that scene, but it looks like as officers are leaving the scene, just having some protesters or bystanders, agitators throwing some snowballs at them as they leave. We saw this earlier.
We did. Well. Yep, we saw this exact thing earlier, and this was targeted toward ICE agents at that particular time. But now, as you mentioned, this is MPD, BCA was on scene, the sheriff's department as well. And as this street is opening up here, you can see a lot of these protesters, these people in the community responding to this. And now we're having an aerial view here of what we have been seeing, what we did see earlier, and now it's once again you can see them throwing some of those snowballs at those vehicles, some of which we can see have just dropped.
Heaven forbid a snowball. All right, compared to what a lot of these people are getting sprayed with, my goodness. Also, I've been playing a lot of different eyewitness testimonies. Here's another one.
In full camo, come and pull several times on the door handle, at which point the red vehicle reversed a few feet and started driving around, and the person who was by the driver's side originally, not the man who pulled on the door, but who was originally there, shot through the driver's side window 3 times, and the car drove down the street a little bit more and then swerved into a car and then ultimately a telephone pole.
Okay. I think that's really all, because I'm not trying to get you to comment on that. You just saw this. Did you see an ambulance come? Did you?
Thank you, Gray Walker. I want to pause here for a second. The reason why we do have a migrant crisis, sanctuary city situation is because, again, U.S. regime change wars, okay? War on drugs, never asked the CIA its relationship with El Chapo. And no, don't worry. The war on drugs is never going to end, okay? Listen, won't somebody think of the FBI, DEA, and prison industrial complex budgets, okay? War on drugs isn't ending. All right, there you go. Just want to rip that Band-Aid off. Thank God. We have to add in some humor. Thank God Heartland's media still says we're going to get our bump. That's all that matters. Don't worry, folks. It's all good. But the reason why there's a problem, the reason why ICE is here, the reason why we have sanctuary cities, the reason why there's a crisis at the border and kids in cages, remember that? Because of regime change wars. So look, you got the war on drugs, regime change wars, sanctions, so you're a regular person, you're minding your own business, and oh no, civil war. You don't want to be there, or your family, right? Oh no, there's a drug cartel. And today, they will mow you down. You don't have to do nothing to them, and they'll still mow you down. You could even say good morning to them one day, and they'll still shoot you in the head because of the way you said good morning to them. Even if it was a happy-go-lucky smiley face. So a rational person near cartels, in the middle of a civil war, or a country suffering through sanctions, is going to want to find greener pastures. And listen, if that was me, I would want to do the same thing too. Like, I got to get out of here. Now, I will be fair. I'll probably be the first one dead on an arduous journey. I'm not going to be the tough guy. I'll probably be the first one dead. Boom, dead in the middle of a creek somewhere. At least I know I'm getting up out of there. But that's why there's a crisis. All manufactured. Decades even before even I was born. That's why there is a crisis. That's why there's a crisis at the border. Because of the past and past horrible decisions by Democrat and Republican lawmakers.
An ambulance came a few minutes later. There was some delay getting the ambulance to the vehicle because of the number of ICE vehicles in the street, and sort of they slowly moved their SUVs and trucks out of the way. Somebody wearing a camo and a vest that just said police, I think they're ICE, but no identification. Grabbed an orange sort of OtterBox style case and ran up to the vehicle. And they pulled the person out and onto the boulevard before the ambulance got there.
When you saw it happen, was that vehicle still moving? Was it at all going towards an agent at that point? Or
So the agents had been on either side, so they just backed up a few feet and then drove forward again. Somebody else said that the vehicle had been stuck in the snow a little bit. So they weren't driving at a person with any intention of hitting them. They were driving between.
Just wanted to pull that up there for everyone to see. Also, there's more commentary from Chrissy Noem. Want to pull this up here.
On the ground, I've spoken to the president today on the situation here on the ground. I also just got off the phone a little while ago with Governor Walz and spoke to him as well. I want to reiterate first with all of you the facts of what happened today. At 10:25 a.m. Central Time, Immigration and Customs Enforcement were carrying out lawful operations here in Minneapolis. Because of the adverse weather that Minneapolis has seen in recent snow, one of the vehicles became stuck and ensnared in the snow. Law enforcement were attempting to push out this vehicle, and when a mob of agitators that were harassing them all day began blocking them in, shouting at them, and impeding law enforcement operations. ICE officers and agents approached the vehicle of the individual in question, who was blocking the officers in with her vehicle, and she had been stalking and impeding their work all throughout the day. ICE agents repeatedly ordered her to get out of the car and to stop obstructing law enforcement, but she refused to obey their commands. She then proceeded to weaponize her vehicle and attempted to run a law enforcement officer over. This appears as an attempt to kill or to cause bodily harm to agents, an act of domestic terrorism. The ICE officer, fearing for his life and the other officers around him and the safety of the public, fired defensive shots. He used his training.
Defensive shots. My goodness, the woman is dead. There's no sugarcoating this. There's no way to make this into a pretty picture. Say it again, Christy.
Agents. An act of domestic terrorism. The ICE officer, fearing for his life and the other officers around him and the safety of the public, fired defensive shots. He used his training to save his own life and that of his colleagues. He was treated at a local hospital, has been released, and is now with family.
Okay. Now, at least allegedly, as it stands right now, people are still trying to at least as still trans right now. Sorry, I'm a little bit speechless over this, overall of this. The actions of ICE, because I watched the video from different angles, and no matter what, there's no justification for this kind of force. And even then, with the precarious situation that ICE is in, one would think that they would do everything in their power to not agitate citizens, especially their absolute failure in running things here in Chicago. I want to pull up this video here. This is from a good friend of the show, Keaton Weiss from Due Dissidence. I'll be co-hosting with him tomorrow on his show at 11 a.m. Central. Pretty clear what happened here. Two agents approach the car from the side, tell the woman to get out of the effing car. One of them starts grabbing the door. While this is happening, another agent walks in front of the car. The driver panics and maneuvers to evade two agents on the side of the car, not realizing there's an agent standing in front of her. She then sees the agent in front of the car and immediately turns the wheel to avoid hitting him and flee, and the agent in front of the car shoots her as she's driving away. Obviously totally indefensible, probably a second-degree murder. It's the inevitable result of recruiting underemployed backbenchers with fatty liver disease to patrol the streets and conduct law enforcement operations with little to no training. And seeing the actions of ICE in Chicago and how they've handled site security, seeing how they've handled with situations and the legal lawfare and fallout that's going to come with that. Yeah, this is a recipe for disaster. This is how 2026 is going to be. This is just the beginning warning shot of more to come. So as we wrap things up, hey, I want to give it up for Minnesota's wonderful senator, because it's all a joke, a horrible joke, to quote the Joker. So why not end it at least on a grim, dark note? Klobuchar, what do you want to say now?
Speaking of Greenland, there's a question for you that I want to pose. What is the difference between Greenland and Donald Trump? Greenland is not for sale. Okay, for any Republican Trump administration person out there that want to throw eggs at me as a result of that joke, you can't, because they're too expensive.
We're not going to make it. I mean, look, maybe the plane will crash and some of us will survive it. But yeah, we're not going to make it. All right. Some of us will. Some of us won't. But at the end of the day, this is the disaster we're in. So give it up. 2026, year of the horse. All problems of 2025 as follows here. I see more surveillance, more online censorship, more suppression. And I see our politicians using this as a bloody chess piece in their game of who's going to control the Senate and the House and have us divided and hate each other more. I see the actions of ICE intensifying. The way they've handled site security, as I've said previously, is going to fail miserably. And in regards for these politicians, Democrats and Republicans, in regards to bringing in any kind of de-escalation, good luck with that. That's not going anywhere anytime soon. Get ready. We're in for a roller coaster, and the best thing you can do right now is take care of the people that are close to you, your friends and family. Keep your heads on a swivel. Stand for free speech. Stand with independent media. And I will be doing a follow-up story with this with my good friend Keaton from New Dissidents. I'll be filling in with Russell tomorrow. So be at peace. I did this live stream again to get the name of the woman who was unfortunately lost her life, as well as getting perspectives, points of view on the ground from different witnesses, as well as commentary from our also fantastic politicians. I want to end this show at least on a apropos note from Jesse Jett, Dust of Better Days from his album. I want to give a huge shout out to Jesse Jett from Indie News Network. He does a lot of great work, and I think this song is pretty much the appropriate way to end this episode. So thank you for joining me for this special live stream. Please be at peace and take care of each other. We're all that we have at this point. This is Kid Cabell with Hard Lens Media signing out. And let us all do what we can to build a better future.
SWAT team took your neighbor today. Watched them as they walked him away. You told yourself extremists come in all different shapes. Met his eyes and lowered your gaze. Is it too late for us to ever change? We are collecting the dust of better days. They're always watching us, but we're never safe. We're not meant to be safe, not meant to escape. We aren't meant to wake. your daughter today. Pepper sprayed her twice in the face. He must have had good reason if he'd treat her that way. At least that's what they've taught you to say. But is it too late for us to ever change? Once we're collecting the dust of better days, and they're always watching us, but we're never safe. We're not meant to feel safe, not meant to escape. We aren't meant to wake. Feds arrived and had you detained. Said you'd made some posts they unchanged. Tased you till you felt like you'd forgotten your name, or life before they had you contained. Oh, life before they had you contained. The SWAT team took your neighbor today.